So your soulmate doesn't want you back. Ouch. What do? Where do you go from here? How do you maneuver? Okay, so this could be a very, very painful experience that you're having. You know, you watched the previous video, you've identified that this is your soulmate, it's been confirmed, you've received divine confirmation so much. That's probably the most important thing. You've received that divine confirmation. You're walking in your purpose, you're walking in alignment, but this soulmate doesn't want you back. Wow. Ouch. I feel your pain. Let's feel that pain for a little bit. But how do you move forward? Now let's just break some things down because there's some things to understand. So we have a few things to unpack here, right? The first one is, okay, so you're probably asking, why doesn't your soulmate want you? Why? Let me tell you something. There could be a number of reasons why this is happening, right? Maybe this isn't your soulmate. Maybe this isn't your romantic or your truest soulmate. As your life partner. Maybe this soulmate is meant for another lifetime. There are different reasons, right? But in this video, we're not going to talk about all that. Well, we're going to break that down a little bit, but we're really going to focus on, you know that this is your soulmate. You've received divine confirmation. The big five, right? There's chemistry, there's connection, there's wholeness, there's divine purpose, there's divine confirmation. You've received all these five, and this soulmate is not agreeing and doesn't believe that they're your soulmate. So why isn't this working? So the first obvious reason why this soulmate connection, your truest soulmate connection, isn't working is because of timing. This is probably for most people the main issue, right? Timing. The timing is off. So perhaps what does that mean? It might mean that the message has been revealed to you, but it hasn't been revealed to them yet. The revelation has been revealed to you, but it hasn't been to them yet. And why? Well, what is the purpose of a soulmate? So a soulmate is a person that God or the universe has chosen for you within your time on the planet to complement you and to complete God's purposes for you and to ensure the fullness of your potential being realized. So when it's time for your purpose and both of your purposes to align, and you guys are going to make the best partnership in helping each other fulfill each other's purposes, well, that's when the timing is right. And if anything happens before, what happens when you cook a cake and it's not done and you take it out? What happens? It messes up. So why would you want to take this cake out of the oven before it's ready? You don't want to mess things up.
You will sabotage your soulmate if you're not whole. I don't want you. Lord, you got to be mature enough to say, God, don't even bring her. Don't even bring him until I'm whole, because I'm going to slaughter the poor person. I'm going to slay the person with my brokenness.
So there's a reason why this is not connecting. This is not happening now. So you just have to have that patience, right? And let me tell you something about that patience. You have to have that patience whereby you're okay, even if it never happens. Even if it never happens, it is okay.
In order to draw the thing to you that you want to come, you can't want it so much that you fear that you won't get it. You have to want it. So in order for me to be on your vision board, you must have put it there and then you let it go.
Yes.
And then you weren't thinking about it every day. Because you can't, it doesn't come to you that way. You have to do it, and then you have to put it, and then you have to meet that vibration. You have to prepare yourself to be there and ready when it shows up.
Because if it never happens, then this wasn't really meant for you, right? But it doesn't mean that you sit there and you wait for this person. Live your life, explore, build your life, grow in the ways that you need to grow for that purpose. And whoever is the right person for you will come. But if this is the person that you've received divine confirmation, what's going to happen? it's going to happen, but also be okay with the idea that it might never happen. And the idea, just be okay, because what's inside you is content. That is what is in. So like, okay, so this idea of what's within you is content stems from this idea that, okay, happiness is an illusion. Sadness is an illusion. No matter what happens in your life, nothing is good or bad. It's only bad when you tell yourself that it's bad. It's like when, a child like falls down or something and they're not crying. But when everyone starts overreacting, the child starts crying because, oh, obviously I'm supposed to cry over this. No. You get to tell yourself whether this is good or this is bad. So happiness is an illusion. Sadness is an illusion. But what you are in the depths of your soul, your inner being, is content. Let me give you an example, right? So I almost died when I was 21. I was in the hospital. I had a pulmonary embolism, which is a blood clot in your lung. Till today, the doctors have not been able to figure out why that happened to me. Because like when you understand me, I don't get sick. I don't get a cold. I don't get the flu. I don't get anything since I was a child. Even now, I don't get sick. So when this happened and it was this like strange thing, the doctors were confused and they did all these tests. They did every kind of test. Until today, they still don't know why. Well, let me tell you something. I was in the hospital and I almost died. You see, normally when you have a pulmonary embolism, you die within 24 hours. And I had been walking around for 7 days, coughing up blood, didn't know. To be young, I was like 21 at the time, just, coughing up blood and stuff. But eventually, I go to the hospital and the doctors are like, well, people normally die within 24 hours. They have me in the hospital, monitoring me in the hospital, but not really doing anything. So there was this like overwhelming feeling that at any moment I could die. It was an understanding. In fact, the doctors kind of just left me there to die. That's kind of what was happening. They weren't really, well, it is what it is. So in this hospital dying, and I'm lucky enough because the hospital has some of these volunteers. I believe this was a psychiatrist or some sort of she was I don't know. She was like a therapist, but she also was doing like meditations and stuff. So she was teaching me how to meditate and teaching me how to do all these things. And this is actually, funny enough, the first time that I fully connected with my spirit. Like I had done it before, but this is the first time I connected in so much depth with my spirit. And what happened was, through God, I sort of like said, you know what? Whatever happens, I'm okay. If I die, it's okay. If I live, it's okay. Your will be done. I surrendered everything that I wanted, everything that I was, and I left it all to God. If you want me to live, I will live. If you want me to die, I will die. Your will be done. And when I did that, I received this overwhelming sense of peace and harmony and content. This letting go of your emotions, of your physical self, your wants, your needs, the things of the flesh, and giving in to your spirit and understanding and allowing your spirit to lead. When you do that, you know deep down that everything, and no matter how bad it is, everything is okay. Because that's who you are. Because remember, in the last video I broke down, before you lived on this planet, before you came here, before you were this flesh, what were you? Your spirit existed. After you exist as this flesh, your spirit will exist. Your soul, your spirit, same thing. So, if you live or you die, it's okay. Because what are you at your core? You are content. You are love. So, taking that example and adding it to the soulmate, even if this soulmate decides not to be with you, it is okay. And trust me, if I could die, I could almost die, and I could let go of my life, you can let go of a soulmate. I promise you, you can do it. All right, let's move on. Another example, another reason why this isn't working. This person hasn't received the revelation, doesn't believe that you guys are soulmates yet, doesn't understand that, even though their soul knows the truth, but maybe the little them, their flesh is leading, their ego is leading, something else is leading the ship of their life, or the armada of their life, right? Is misalignment. So when it comes to misalignment, there are two areas of misalignment. It could be, the first one is you or your soulmate is misaligned from their purpose in life. The next one is you or your soulmate is misaligned from each other, right? So let's look at the first one, right? Being misaligned from your purpose in life. So this is the example when I give you again with the big ship, the mothership. Your soul is here for a reason. Your soul understands what your purpose in life. Your soul is meant to lead in your life. If your soul isn't leading, if their soul isn't leading in their life, if they're not walking in alignment, well, this could be the reason why they're disconnected, why they're not seeing this connection, because they're not listening to their soul. They are listening to their head, to their brain, to their flesh, things of the flesh, and they're letting that lead. The next one is being misaligned from each other. And this one is a really complex and kind of deep one. But the basic principle here is that the two of you are just not on the same level of consciousness. Now, there are over 1 million levels of consciousness, right? And perhaps the two of you are just not on the same level, not in the same sort of areas where your mind is going, what you're thinking, how you're being, what you're manifesting, what you're doing. You're not on the same level of consciousness. So this one, not being on the same level of consciousness, I want to add to that, this person might be your soulmate, but they might not be for you in this lifetime. Because think about it, in the whole universe, think about how many souls are in the whole universe. First of all, think about how many billions and billions of souls are on this planet. I'm not just talking about humans, animals too. I'm talking about all sorts of souls on this planet, right? Then think about the whole universe. How many souls are on the universe? Of course you have many soulmates. And so, like, obviously, you're not supposed to connect with your soulmate that is like, you're not supposed to connect romantically with a soulmate that's an animal or something. Like, come on. That's why, like, the Eros love is connected through your body. So it's your form. That's how you connect with this truest soulmate, right? Because this is going to be your life partner is going to be your truest connection, soulmate connection, outside of yourself. Go watch the previous video. I broke that down. But it's possible that this person just is not your truest soulmate. You've like identified them as that. But the chances are, look, maybe you didn't receive this divine confirmation, right? And if this person is not your truest soulmate, perhaps your purpose is not connected, right? You guys are not here for the right reason. Every soul comes on this planet to learn a set of lessons. You come here to learn something. You come here to do something. Purpose, right? And if you guys are not connected through purpose, you guys are here to learn different lessons. You could even have the same purpose, but you're not here to learn the same lessons. And that could be it, because this person might just not be your truest soulmate. And so ultimately, I think the most important takeaway from all of this is that even if you are romantically misaligned, doesn't mean that you're not aligned in the other areas of love that I defined in the last video. So it doesn't mean that you're not aligned in the other areas of love, because this soulmate is still a catalyst for your purpose. So you can still connect with this soulmate. And so there's room for you to build out your relationship in other areas of life, if that is a healthy option for you. If you feel that it's unhealthy for you to be connected with this soulmate, it's your right to let go of that connection. But if you want to build out the other areas of life with this soulmate, that's also something that you can do. But regardless, what I would say is that you continue to give love. You give that agape love. That's a cosmic God's love, the love of every soul on the planet. You should give that to everyone anyway. You give that love of a friendship. You can give love from a distance. You don't have to be hanging out all the time. You can give love from a distance, right? Storage love, that's kind of love like for family. You can still give love from a distance if you need those boundaries. Because if this is not your truest soulmate, if you haven't received divine confirmation, and you're not going to second guess divine confirmation, when you know, it's going to be deep. It's going to happen multiple times, and you're going to understand it for what it is, unless you're not connected with your soul. So when you receive this divine confirmation, you know that this is a person. But if this is not the one for your lifetime, well, you're not going to receive that divine confirmation.
The man who recklessly gives himself over to his sex drive denies and distances himself from his divine nature. Preach, will you? He courts chaos, drama, legal troubles, illegitimate children, everything this side of the plagues that Moses warned Pharaoh about in Exodus. Worst of all, he becomes manipulative and callous, willing to do or say anything to get a woman in bed.
Everything has to have purpose. I don't know about dating. Because dating is, well, let me see. Let me see. Who has time for let me see? Let's just keep it all the way real. It's, well, let me, it could be, let me see. See, here's the real deal. Here's reality. When you know, you know. And if you don't know, it's not it. So you pace it. Otherwise, you get into something, you don't have any conviction that it's it, your heart is invested, time is invested, finances are invested, and you know it ain't going nowhere. Why do you do that?
So you say right on the page 1, before we even get into book, is to wait is to delay the temptation for instant gratification in relationships in order to get what you really want in life and become the person you want to be. Mm-hmm. So you believe that waiting, meaning not having sex, we're really clear, it means not having sex.
Until marriage.
Until you get married, helps God to reveal things that you would have missed.
Oh, yeah.
How so?
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, it's interesting because when we got together, we both knew that we were going to wait. And what we learned during the process was because we weren't being intimate in that way, we were able to really see each other for who we are. We were able to really spend our time getting connected emotionally, spiritually, being able to assess, can I spend a lifetime with you? If the sex goes up and down at certain times in our marriage, do I love you enough? Do I respect you enough? Do we want the same things out of life? Can we really be joined that way? And so what I realized in the past was most of the relationships that I went into, because it started off sexually, I didn't have the clarity or the discernment to see who the person was.
Because the sex clouds everything.
Oh, man.
Oh, yeah.
Because the sex is good, so you're like, oh, okay, well, you know, that's my boo, I need to be near him, and you become physically dependent upon that person. You make excuses.
Yeah.
You're okay with stuff you wouldn't be okay with long term. You know, it's the stuff that I feel like a lot of times relationships last, 2 to 4 years. It's because it's taken us that amount of time to figure out that we may not even like this person at all as a human being, you know? Or we may, but they just may not be right for us, and we
Or they're showing you
compromise.
over and over and over, but then the sex gets in the
can't see
way
it.
and
So
you can't see it. So you say that this is not just about sex, but it does begin with sex.
Yes.
Explain that.
Well, because waiting, we believe that when you practice delayed gratification, it helps you in every area of your life. Especially, like, think about career. You know, there are things that you want out of your career. There are things that you really want to be and where you want to go. But if you say, hey, I got to have it now, a lot of times you make the wrong decision.
Correct.
When you practice instant gratification. And so the wait, specifically in this area of let me do the hardest thing, which is to delay temptation to have sex.
Yeah.
Because if I can do that, then I will really unlock the power of patience, which will then permeate every other area of my life.
So I want to know how the wait, how delaying the gratification of having sex before you were married also strengthened other areas of your life and, you know, allowed you to be more disciplined in other ways that you didn't even expect it. How did that show up for you?
Well, I was very much a kid who grew up in the business, who, you know, I grew up, I knew my job, what my work was, but outside of that, I had no discipline as anything else beyond work. And so when I started practicing the wait, it was, for me, transformational because I began to have a different type of discipline. I began to be very intentional about what I wanted. I began to be very specific. In the past, I had a lot of luck, and I had gotten by very well. But at this time, it was like, all right, I'm getting to a different point in my life. What do I really want?
Yeah, and you write here that it wasn't just a spiritual practice that brought about discipline for you, but it also brought about a sense of clarity.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's like I could breathe in a different way that I hadn't before. My mind was totally different.
Really?
It was just open and clear and specific, and again, intentional. And as a result, my career changed. I went from always kind of playing the sexy girl and the love interest and not really getting a lot of roles that had a lot of meat to them like I did when I was younger. And it helped me transition out of that into being the lead on a TV show on NBC and being this, you know, second black woman in 30 years who had done that, and then getting another lead and then transitioning into more comedy.
Because it changed the way you were perceived.
Oh yeah, totally.
And for you, how would you answer that question, Devon?
I would answer it, you know, as a man who's super ambitious and wants to conquer the world. When I began to practice the wait, that perspective shift helped me manage everything in the office totally different. Because when you're in a hurry and you want it right now, you know, you go in, you know, there were days that I would go in the office and I'm tense. I'm like, you know, I'm not getting promoted and the movies aren't happening and nobody knows who I am and I'm not making an impact and all these things. And God would say, just calm down. You're on the escalator to where you're supposed to be. So you just got to go in every day and relax. And because I was practicing that privately, you know, it really helped me be able to apply it professionally.
So another one is free will. Free will is a very tricky thing because we all were put on this planet. We all have the reason that we are here. And we all have the choice not to walk in alignment and not to follow our purpose, all of that. We all have that choice. But at the same time, here's the thing, right? Think about God. Think about the universe. The universe, God knows every soul that has been placed in the universe, knows every soul that has been placed on this planet, knows every single soul. And so they know the soul that's the best match for you. They know the soul, because you're going to have different soulmates, different options that could have been your truest soulmate. But once you've received this divine confirmation, this is specifically just for those that have received the divine confirmation. Because if you haven't, then let it go. But if you have received that divine confirmation, there's a reason that you've received that divine confirmation. And it means that this individual has the highest probability of being your life partner. Unless maybe you came on this planet and the lesson that you're meant to learn is philatia, which is self-love. Maybe that's the lesson you're here to learn, and you're not meant to be with this person. But I doubt that. You're not going to get divine confirmation if it's not going to happen. You're not going to be told repetitively that this is going to happen. It's the same way like how you look at your purpose in life, look at the vision God has given you with that purpose in life, what they like to call the promise. And you know, the way that you know that that is going to happen, for those that are walking in alignment, I'm not talking about people that are misaligned, but those that are walking in alignment, the way that you know that it's going to happen is the same way that you know that this soulmate connection that you've been given divine confirmation on is going to happen, as long as you're in alignment and as long as that person is also in alignment. But it's the highest probability, because another option would have been brought to you. And guess what? Another option can still be brought to you. And you can still live out your purpose with that other option. And that is okay. Because free will, you were here and you were given free will. So for you to surpass your fullest potential, you're going to connect with the best match. Who wants second best? Why would you want second best? You want the first best. And that's why you were given the first best. And the reason why you know this is because if you ask the universe or God, or you connect with your soul, like maybe you can try this exercise, meditate, connect with your soul, and ask God or the universe to introduce you to your best soulmate in the universe. And you can try different ways of doing this, right? You can meet your best soulmate in the universe. You can meet your best, and this is like, you can meet your best soulmate on the planet right now. Then you can give the criteria that you need in terms of romance, right? And you can ask for that. And not necessarily you being picky, like picking like superficial things like, oh, well, he needs to be 8-figure. That's my type. Not that kind of stuff, but the stuff that actually means something in terms of foundation, the foundation that you require, because everything else you're supposed to build with that soulmate. So ask for that. Ask God to show you that spirit, who that spirit is. And you'll know immediately. If this is the person, you'll know. If it's not the person, well, hey.
See, God is smart. He's not an ignorant God. He's not a whimsical God. When God looks at you and he knows you, and he knows every other soul that was before you, that will be in your time, and that will come after you, when he has chosen somebody for you, he has already factored in the fact that the two of you will complement his purposes for you. It's the spirit of the person. And watch this, that spirit will feel like it has been with you all of your life. That spirit will know you. How do you know me? And we just met. We didn't just meet. Before I formed you in your mother's womb, I ordained this for you. It's a part of you. We were lost. We were disconnected from each other, but God, in his infinite wisdom, at the right time, when we were whole enough, brought us together to do this thing.
But regardless of whether it works out with this soulmate or not, you just have to live your life without any expectations. Funny enough, even though like you've been given this promise, let go of the expectation, let go of the individual, let go.
See, if it's a soulmate, you can let it go. Oh, that's for somebody. That's for somebody. See, you don't have to hoard a soulmate. You can say, God, take it. I trust you. And if it comes back, you bring it back, that's the one. But if you're afraid, watch this. If you're afraid to let it go, there's something wrong with your processing. You're afraid to let it go. Feel that for somebody. You're trying to hold on to it like in desperation or in fear of losing it. You don't have to fear losing your soulmate.
Focus on yourself. Focus on self-love, Felicia. Focus on you.
Get rid of the rule, the attachment you have to the rule in your mind that says that you must first have love on the outside to then feel it on the inside. That's all it is. It's a rule. You can decide to give yourself that love. And the more you focus on giving yourself that love, the more you will actually feel it. So the key is knowing that the more you feel it on the inside, and the more you can really just get to a place of detachment, is the more that then you're going to resonate at it from a deeper level. Buddha himself said that the root of all suffering is attachment. And it's specifically attachment to desire. And that desire to attachment is a desire to a story that we must be in a relationship. It's attachment to different people and the way they should act and trying to control the outer reality, not knowing that if you just let it go, then you can allow things and you can then be in a certain state to where the inner reality is then changed. And the inner reality is also changed because it realizes, I don't have to do all this. I can release it, and then I can be. It's almost in a way allowing the universe to let it do it for you, by trusting in it, by just trusting that it's going to bring you exactly what you need when you need it. It's like the more you try to control the universe, the more you're putting your hands at the throat of it, and you're like, work out this way. The little ego thinks it knows everything. And the ego then is attached to this perspective. It's like, it's in that amusement park. Imagine it's in an amusement park and it's like, I just want to ride on this one ride. And there's like 700 other rides, but it's like, no, this is the one ride I want and it needs to work right now. And that's a level of scarcity too. So then it's putting out that energy, and imagine the ride has a consciousness of itself. And the ride's like, bro, way too needy, man, get away from me.
Build you. And you'll attract all of your soulmates, all of them possible. Focus on your purpose. Stay on your purpose. Stay on your grind. Stay on your self-love. Harness yourself holistically. Mind, body, and soul. Feed your soul. Feed your spirit.
I'm really excited to encourage you tonight about the power and the blessing of a soulmate relationship. I mean, as it relates to relationships, humanly speaking, nothing can compare to it. I mean, it is absolutely incredible and it's divine. But I think what I'm more excited about than you getting a soulmate is the you that you have to become in the process. That's what I'm more excited about, because you get to become something. And you attract who you are.
And here's an interesting one, right? Maybe this connection isn't working because you have other soulmates that you've been introduced to, but you don't cherish that soulmate or those soulmates. Why? Well, maybe it's a message from the universe that you need to cherish what you've been given, because a bird in hand is worth 10 in the bush. Before I'm going to give you this new soulmate, how about you cherish the other soulmates that I've given you? Maybe it's like a friend. Maybe it's a parent, a sibling. Who are these other soulmates that you have, that you know that you have in your life? If you watch the previous video, I talk about how to identify your soulmates. I talk about the different types of soulmates there are. And so this is really, you need to focus on harnessing all your soul connections that you currently have before you think about getting a new one. Because if you're not appreciating the ones you have, how are you going to appreciate the new one? Maybe you're neglecting yourself. Remember, in the last video, I talked about how you are your first soulmate. Are you taking care of yourself? Are you giving yourself self-love? Do you know how to love yourself? You have to nourish all the soulmate connections that you've been given before you're going to be equipped, especially to nourish your fullest, your truest soulmate. Because that soulmate encompasses all of the areas of love. And if you're not taking care of, the soulmate that's under storage love, which is like a parent, a sibling, a family member, and you have a soulmate connection in that, and you're not nourishing that, how are you going to know how to nourish your truest soulmate in that regard? If you're not nourishing the soulmate that you found, that is your friend, philea love, how are you going to nourish your truest soulmate that also encompasses that? So you have to take care of what you have for you to be able to build into anything else. So ultimately, this is the lesson, but how do you overcome this? How do you get over this hurt? How do you get over this pain? I hope like this video, I've told you some ways, but I'm going to summarize and say the way that you truly get over it is understand this saying right here. And that is, life is about being content. Life is about being content, because that is who you really are. Because that is who you really are in the depths of your soul. That's how I broke it down earlier. You are content. Your spirit, your soul is content. Happiness is an illusion. Sadness is an illusion. No matter how bad things get. But what you are in your core is content. And just to conclude, as long as you are in alignment, as long as you're walking in your purpose, your truest soulmate will be connected to you. So let go of the idea of it being this person or not. That's not important. It just really doesn't matter. Your truest soulmate is going to come to you when you walk in your purpose, in alignment. So live your life, have no expectations, no pressure, nothing. Just live your life and give yourself love. Give love in the universe, and you will receive it. You will receive it in abundance. And so I would not focus too much on the nitty-gritty, the little things, the emotions, the anger, the hurt, the pain. Don't focus on those things, because what is meant for you in this life will never pass you by. What is meant for you in this life will never pass you by. So focus on self-love and feeding your soul, because every single thing that you do either feeds you, either nourishes you, nourishes your soul, or it does the opposite. Every single thing that you do either nourishes your soul or it does the opposite. So focus on how you can nourish your soul. Anyway, so there you have it. That is what you do when your soulmate says no. I hope this is helpful to you. I hope this has helped a lot of people. Please let me know. Have you found your soulmate? Has this happened to you? Has the connection, have you been hurt? Right? Let me know your story. Give me a little like blurb about what's happened to you. Let's talk about it. Maybe I can make another video. See how I can help you go through that the way that I know how. Hey. But let me know your thoughts. What do you do? And if you have any other thoughts, if you have any ideas that you feel like I didn't, mention about this when your soulmate says no, how would you respond? What do you think? Leave a comment down below. My name is Kenim, and see you next time. Namaste.